double 58. Christian Guy's with us, the Managing Director of the Centre for Social Justice. Hello, Christian.
Hi, Tony.
And Mark Krantz is with me, an anti-cuts activist. Hello, Mark.
Hiya.
Mark, listen, George Osborne says today, how can we justify giving flats to young people who've never worked when people twice their age are still living with their parents because they can't afford their first home? How can we justify that?
Well, for George and people like George, if their children haven't got somewhere to live, then he'll buy them a flat because they earn that much money. The millionaires have got richer and richer. The 1% are raking it in.
But we know there are millionaires, but what about these people who are getting flats when they're under 25, when they could possibly still be living at home? Why should taxpayers pay for them if they're not working to have a home of their own?
Well, young people get housing benefit, and people receive housing benefit because they don't earn enough. They don't have a big enough income in order to afford somewhere to live. That's why they're eligible for housing benefit. And those benefits now, under George Osborne, he doesn't live on an estate, he owns an estate. The Osborne cuts, 2, 4, 6, 8 years of austerity, it keeps going up, it's not working, it's making things worse and worse and worse. And George Osborne lives in another world.
Well, he does. We've established George Osborne is rich. Okay, now whether that impacts on his decision making, he will deny that, won't he? He just says he's trying to balance the country's budget.
In order, and who's he trying to balance it for? For the people like him and his class,
right,
the richest people in society.
Just before I bring Christy back in, he also asked another question today. How can we justify a system where people in work have to consider the full financial costs of having another child, whilst those who are out of work don't? Why should the state pay for extra children for those people who aren't in work?
I'm shocked that even for George Osborne to come out with a policy, what does he want, euthanasia? He wants to take away poor people's children? What are they supposed to do?
He wants social responsibility. If you can't afford a kid, don't have it. That's what he's saying.
But the people that he says can't afford to have children are poor people. Why should rich people, the richest people, tell poor people that they shouldn't breed, they shouldn't have a family life, they shouldn't love their children? In Manchester, half of the children are going hungry. A big report just come out. The poorest people in society are finding it difficult to put food on the table
so why
for the children
why
they already have.
Why are they having more children? And that's the point he's making. Why have more children if you cannot afford to feed them?
There is no evidence. There is no birth rate going up for poorer people than for richer people. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Okay. On that point, Mark Krantz, do you accept that some people perhaps now are being paid benefits they may not be entitled to, and that issue needs to be addressed?
Well, George Osborne was talking about the shift worker this morning, wasn't he? He made a big thing about the shift worker going to work, looking out and seeing the blinds drawn in the neighbour's house. You know, that shift worker is what, a firefighter, maybe works in a warehouse. The reason the blinds are drawn is because it's night time. That's when shift workers work. You know, George, he doesn't quite realise this.
You know the point he was making, that if your neighbour's not working and getting benefits, that can rankle, can't it?
Well, he wants one neighbour to blame the other neighbour. You know, why would someone who lives on an estate blame the next door neighbour, who they probably is their friend, might be their brother, might be their sister, their auntie?
But if
they're going to get poorer. How is the shift worker going to be better off if his next door neighbour is poorer? He's not. This is about making both the shift worker and the people on benefits pay more money because George Osborne is steering the ship like the Titanic into an iceberg. The austerity isn't working.
Do you not accept?
The deficit has got worse.
All right.
It's not working. It's a disaster.
Do you not?
People have had enough, and we want.
Okay, let me make a point. Do you not? You've got 30 seconds on this. Do you not accept at all then that there's at least 1% of benefit claimants who don't deserve those benefits?
The people who are getting the benefits who don't deserve them are the millionaires who aren't paying their taxes, who are dodging this, that, and the other.
All right, it's pretty clear where you're coming from.